Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Cars with Big Boy Trev. I am Big Boy Trev.
My name is Birigi.
And today we have an amazing show. We have to read some tweets fast because last week when we did the Subaru XV, we got all sorts of comments. So I'm going to just jump in and read you one comment. There's a guy called Egesa Mageni. He says, do a Subaru WRX model and invite me to rev it. I love the show. Well, I don't know if you meant rev, like rev. We'll think about it and we'll let you know if you want to come for the show as one of our hosts. Mr. Mirigi, another one.
We saw also a guy called Peter Francis who's saying this is good for those who like real machines. Thank you. We work very hard to make sure we get the best cars to show you guys.
But first things first.
Let's check out the news.
On to our first news item, and today we're talking about Mercedes GLB. Now, Mercedes have introduced the GLB officially to Sub-Saharan Africa. It's coming in two states of tune. If you love petrol, then the 250 GLB is a petrol 4-cylinder turbo producing 165 kilowatts and 318 newtons of torque. Gearbox, 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, 0 to 100 in 7.1 seconds. And of course, the diesel, which is the GLB 220D, has 140 kilowatts from a 2-liter, 400 newtons of torque, 0 to 100 in 7.6 seconds. And of course, top speed of 243 kilometers an hour. Mr. Mirigi, we saw this at
Frankfurt. Yes, when we went for the Frankfurt International Motor Show, we had the opportunity to look at it, sit in it, feel it, and I can tell you it's actually a really nice compact SUV, and it should make a very big dent on this market.
Do you think the likes of the Volkswagen T-Roc and of course the Audi Q1, Q2, Q3 and the BMWs will try and make an impact with the GLB?
Well, I mean, this market, as you are very well aware, is very wide. Everybody's doing a compact SUV now. So Mercedes had to get into that space, and they have some experience with the GLA and the GLC. So just bringing that to fit one of the niches that they have in that market. I'm very sure it's going to be a really nice car.
We expect this particular car to land at the DTW showroom Q2 2020, so stay tuned. Cars with Big Boy Trev is going to give you the exclusive review coming soon to a TV screen near you. On to our second news item, and we have news from Isuzu East Africa. They've just started assembling the Isuzu D-Max. This is not news per se, but on this particular generation, they are being built in South Africa. But now, because of the incentives and trying to support the Big Four agenda, Isuzu have decided to build the D-Max right here on Mombasa Road. Mr. Mirigi, the impact of this particular car, what do you think is going to help in boosting the economy of Kenya?
Well, first things first, it's going to put pressure on prices. It's going to get the prices going down.
Yes.
Toyota is also assembling now the Hilux in Mombasa.
Yes.
So we're going to get locally assembled cars at local prices. Very good for the economy because a D-Max or a Hilux double cab pickup is essential for the SME sector. Absolutely. For guys who are just starting some small biashara, that's the first big purchase that guys make. So for guys to buy those cars brand new at good prices is going to have a very big impact in general or across the board.
And remember, because these particular cars are coming in DKDs or SKDs, there's satellite industries that will benefit. So tires, springs, suspension, we want to see the local environment now also benefiting from having such a car being assembled in Kenya. And we are happy that Isuzu has finally made that call to assemble the D-Max in Kenya. So on to our last news item, we've just received reports that DTW have begun assembly of the Volkswagen Tiguan Allspace. Now, if you don't understand what an Allspace is, it's basically a 7-seater Tiguan. Mr. Mirigi, again, does it show faith that Kenyans can actually assemble a very complex vehicle like a Tiguan?
Yeah, I mean, so far people have been assembling, I think, pickups and lorries, which are fairly simple to build and to operate. The Tiguan is going to be the first really complicated car that they're going to be assembling. And I'm very happy that they're doing that because it's a sign that we're going to get better things.
Absolutely. In terms of pricing, remember the Tiguan also plays in a league where the Hyundai, Santa Fe, the big boys are playing.
Yeah.
In terms of price, I just had from my sources that the price would be roughly about 4.7 million.
Yeah, about 4.7 for the for a 7-seater, and that's an entry-level price. Again, what is one of the advantages of assembling in Kenya is the fact that it's going to be offered in different states of tune, which is not something we've seen with a lot of cars which are assembled in this country. So at the moment, you'll be able to get the normal Tiguan, the Allspace, and then 2 different variants of the Allspace, which is a fantastic thing. And we need to see more of this happening. A locally assembled car, you can choose the seats, the interior, the music system, the engine. This is a sign of good things to come.
Wow, so we can't wait to test the Tiguan Allspace coming soon, and we're going to show you the assembly process of this particular car coming soon to a TV screen near you. step inside the world of the mini crossover, and I can tell you this particular segment is very competitive. Here in Kenya, you do have the likes of the Ford EcoSport reigning supreme in this particular category. So basically, it's a jacked up hatchback of the different derivatives. So for this Hyundai Creta, it's the i20, which is the version of the MPV version of this particular car. And on the EcoSport, you do have the Ford Focus. Now, being very competitive, it means this is a car for the young family. You have plenty of practicality inside here, a lot of space, safety, and of course you do have efficiency being the main key points when somebody is looking for this particular car. So this particular Hyundai Creta has an interesting design. As you can see, the dashboard, it's a one mold piece of design. It has soft touch plastic, which is okay, I guess, for the standards and for the value for the money, but you look at the design, the quality of the design is so important. The dashboard sits further away to give an illusion of space, and obviously the center console, you do have a very interesting system. It's a standard audio system which is doubled in. Doubled in means double size of the standard radio, and it's a monochrome display which houses the radio, media, and you can actually pair your phone with it using Bluetooth. You do have USB connectivity as standard in this particular car, and of course you do have plenty of sound, so it sounds like this. I mean, for a standard 6-speaker audio system, it's not too bad. You can't really complain because this car, it's not too bad. The design is easy on the eye. You do have piano black finish and some plastic chrome inserts on the vents, making this car have that premium look. So right below the climate control, you do have plenty of cubbyholes and spaces. You do have a USB port and of course a 12-volt socket where you can charge different devices within the cabin. And as you move towards the gearbox console, it's finished with piano black and of course some chrome lining around it just to give it that impression of quality. It's a standard shift and of course it has Tiptronic functionality and allows you to select the different modes of the vehicle as you drive along our busy highways of Nairobi. Now moving over to the instrument pinnacle, the italics are clear and precise. On the left hand side you have the tachometer, on the right hand side you have a speedometer, and in between you do have a monochrome display that gives you all the vital information, including level of fuel, temperature, if any door is open, and any sensors that you think that may be necessary as you drive along the vehicle. And obviously on the steering wheel, it's well designed, 3-spoke, and has satellite buttons. On the left hand side you have an audio system that connects to the radio, and of course Bluetooth connectivity to connect to your phone, so you're not caught with the cops as you're handling your phone while driving. On the right hand side you do have cruise control, which is a standard in this car. Remember, this category is very, very competitive, in adding cruise control on a vehicle on this particular class makes it have an edge over the rest. Seats comfortable, as you can see. Big Boy is very, very comfortable. There's plenty of space. My stomach and the steering, there's plenty of space, and obviously the seats are very supportive, as you can see. Hugging seats, the material is well cushioned, and obviously lumbar support is standard on this particular car. Now question is there space for the kids at the back, and you'll be able to carry your luggage, your shopping from point A to B, or even go to Sharks with this particular car? Join me, Rigi, as he's going to give you a lowdown on the Creta right here on Cars with Big Boy Trev.
Coming round to the back of the Hyundai Creta, and Trevor is right, this is a car that is built for families. There's a lot of space over here. This seat is set to Trevor's driving position. He's 6'1", and I still have some very decent knee and leg room at the back here. One thing I really like about what they've done in the design is that although the seats are very dark colored, the top and the roof, the headliner, is actually a light color, and that gives you a sense of space and airiness and brings in a lot of light into this cabin. In terms of space, there's a lot of space for you to put like a drink in the side on the door. At the back over here, there's space for putting stuff, and there's an additional 2 cup holders in the side here. It's important to note that at this price point, this is one of the only cars I have ever seen that has air conditioning for the rear, which is very important, especially on a very long trip. Speaking of children that are sitting in the back, we actually have ISOFIX points on the 2 outboard seats that allow you to put a baby seat if you need to do that. Let's check out the back to see just how much space there is in the Hyundai Creta. Coming around to the boot, and the Hyundai Creta opens the tailgate to reveal a massive amount of space. The top tethers for those car seats I was speaking about earlier, the cubby spaces in the side here to put a lot of stuff, tie-down hooks, and a 12-volt socket for any electrical you decide to put in the back here. Under here, we have a full-size spare tire just in case you get in trouble on or off the road, and there's a lot of space that's very easily accessible at the back of this car. So let's take this on the road and see what the Hyundai Creta has to offer. Hi guys, and welcome to CBBT maintenance segment. It's a hot sunny day and it's an incredible thing because today we are talking about cooling. Just like yourself, the car does need to keep cool to make sure that it does operate efficiently. As you're aware, of course, an internal combustion engine is effectively a series of explosions happening within this big metal box that you have here, and that creates a lot of heat. So in every car that there is, you need to take that heat outside, and that's where the radiator comes in. So what the radiator is basically a heat exchanger. Water flows through the engine out into the radiator, and the radiator meets with cool air and cools the engine down. So just not completely, but to make sure that it's in the range that allows it to work effectively. Now, that's not the only radiator on some cars. On the AMG 63S that we tested the other day as a performance car, it has, in addition to the car's radiator, a radiator for the oil. And on top of that, on some serious off-road applications, when guys have pimped their cars to go off the road, they'll actually have a separate radiator to keep the diff oil cool. So it's important to note that very many parts of the cars are also very hot, and they need to be cooled down. On high performance vehicles, you have something called an intercooler. It's called an air-to-air intercooler. All that is doing is cooling the air before it gets into the engine. So whereas a radiator for a car is trying to keep the engine block in its most efficient temperature, that is cooling the air even before it comes into the engine. So in terms of maintenance, most of the time when you're doing your normal check on the way to a safari on the road, when the guy's opened and is asking you, "Kaa mbele iko sawa?" all you're doing nowadays in these cars is checking the level of the coolant. Nowadays, you're not opening the radiator itself to check how much water there is in that unless something has gone terribly wrong. So what you're doing is checking out the level of the coolant, which in this car is in the front next to the radiator. It's not the same location in all cars, so you need to check your own car's manual to see where exactly that is and how you'll check out how the levels are. In terms of coolants, there are very many coolants that are sold by very many companies. You can buy that on your own, or you can ask your service center representative which is the best for you. So all you're doing is just opening, checking the level of the coolant, making sure it's in the right position and everything is okay, and you should be able to go on your safari and make sure things are fine. For the cooling system, generally, you don't have too much focus on that unless when you're looking at the temperature on the inside of the car and you notice things are thick, that's when now you need to check in, take it to service and see what's going on. This week, we focus on the top 5 used imports with the best resale value in Kenya. Number 5, the Toyota Premio. For over 20 years, it has defined why Toyota as a brand has good value. Its sturdy build quality, spacious interior, and the fuel-efficient Valve-matic engine range makes it irresistible. The availability of affordable spare parts also plays a big role in making the Premio a contender in this segment. With a strong resale value, its current market prices range between 1 and 1.6 million shillings. Number 4, the Subaru Forester. This hugely popular crossover gains its popularity courtesy of Subaru's rally heritage and DNA. This practical family crossover shares its underpinning with the rally-bred Subaru Impreza and boasts the symmetrical all-wheel drive and legendary Boxer engine. Prices for the Subaru Forester range from 1.4 million to 2.4 million depending on the specification of each vehicle. Number 3, the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. This vehicle is considered a status symbol by very many Kenyans due to its sheer size and imposing stature. With over 60 years of heritage, the Prado shares its platform with the Toyota Hilux, and the legendary sturdiness has withstood the test of time. Prices for the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado start at 5 million shillings and can range all the way up to 10 million shillings. Number 2, the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. The Mercedes-Benz C-Class sets the bar in the compact executive segment, fighting it out with the likes of the BMW 3 Series and the Audi A4. The C-Class chassis is the strong point here, delivering sharp handling that is well matched with the performance from the range of its available engines. With prices starting from 1.6 million, it is a sure way of making a statement. Number 1, the Volkswagen Polo. This well-built German machine comes from a lineage full of heritage and is loved by many due to its build quality, great engine, and tons of technology on board.
Being a hatchback, practicality is the name of the game here, and Volkswagen engineers have packaged it to be as practical as possible. Prices for used Volkswagen Polos start between 800,000 shillings to 1.2 million shillings, with its main rivals being the Toyota Vitz and the Mazda Demio.
So guys, today we've just tested the Hyundai Creta, which is the entry-level crossover courtesy of Hyundai, and I can tell you this segment is so competitive. Like I said earlier, the likes of the Ford EcoSport and many others that are in the market are trying to outdo each other. So how does Hyundai differentiate itself from the rest of the pack? Let's start with how it drives, how it feels. So up front, you do have a choice of two engines. Okay, you can either have it in petrol or diesel, but this particular variant that I'm driving is a petrol 1.6 liter that does 121 horsepower and 158 newton meters of torque, and power is selected and sent to the front wheels courtesy of a 6-speed automatic, not CBT, purely automatic. So you have pure engagement. The gear shifts are fantastic. And if you want to do sports mode like myself right now, which I'm going to do right now, and then drop a gear or two, there you go. Pre-select 4th gear and 5th and 6th. It's pretty easy to drive, even for your regular, soccer moms or doing your school runs. This particular Creta is fun to drive, and of course, it's very smooth. The level of noise, vibration, and harshness is fantastic. There is no intrusive sound. It's so quiet. It's so refined. It actually feels like I'm driving high-end premium vehicle, and that's the beauty of having such a car that is well designed. Now, in terms of fuel efficiency, obviously, if you do the combined cycle, Hyundai claims this particular car will do you 5.1 liters per 100 kilometers, which is very good, considering that on your everyday hustle, you're taking kids to school, going to work and coming back, and using traffic-laden roads. You can be able to save a lot as you drive this particular car. Again, this is all about efficiency, and the gearbox actually helps. It hangs on to the higher gear so that the car remains as efficient as possible. In terms of safety, you want to take care of your family. You want your family to be safe as you drive on the road. So Hyundai have actually added a mix of active and passive safety features to ensure that this particular car is safe and on top of its game. Let's start with the active system. So you do have ABS, which is anti-lock braking system. You have electronic brake force distribution, and you have brake assist. Now, in case all hell breaks loose, then you can rely on the multiple airbags around the cabin, and of course a 5-star safety rating that has been given on the body to ensure that impact energy is dissipated away from the passenger cell onto the chassis, making sure that you and your family are safe. And that is so important, especially for school moms and people who are starting a young family. Safety is so important. Now, that said, handling important. So this car, the steering feels neutral. It's not too weighted. It beefs up gradually as you increase the speed, and of course the suspension, which is McPherson strut at the front, and you have a multi-link rear suspension at the back, ensures that this car has good handling manners on road, and of course off-road gives you that clearance that you so desire. If you're going bundu bashing, you're going to shags, or going off-road like right now we're going to Ngong. So for that and much more, we need to engage Mr. Miregi, who's going to tell us if this car is very good on Maram surface, as we continue to review the Creta, courtesy of Cars with Big Boy Trev.
Here we are in the Hyundai Creta, and we're taking it off the road. Now, it's important to note that when I say off the road, I just mean off a surface that's not tarmac, because this is not a car that's been built to do really crazy hardcore off-roading like what these bundu bashing guys do, driving all the way to Mandera, that kind of stuff, your rhino charge kind of things. It's just that in normal everyday life you will find yourself in situations where you have to turn off the tarmac road. So maybe there's a trailer that's stuck on the road, or when you're going Ushago, you've turned off the main road and you need to connect to go somewhere, you're going to be on a surface that is not tarmac. And this car can handle itself really well on that. A lot of the reason why people buy a compact SUV instead of a saloon is to be able to handle those situations. This is actually a two-wheel drive vehicle, so it doesn't have four-wheel drive. It doesn't have any of those fancy off-road modes that a lot of cars have, but this is handling itself very well. And I think it's because it has very good ground clearance, so we're able to get over and above a lot of the bumps that we have here. We're over here in a very rocky road somewhere in Gong Hills, and it's handling itself very impressively. Honestly, I have to say the star of the show here is this gearbox. This gearbox is giving me just enough power I need to get into and out of any situation I find myself in. We've gone up hills in this, we've gone over ridges, and you're able to modulate just how much power you want those front wheels to have. So let's go to value for money and see how this stacks up against the competition.
So guys, you've seen how the Hyundai Creta is, how practical it is. We've taken it off-road and seen the ground clearance and of course how practical it is. But Mr. Murigi, who are the key rivals of this particular car?
Well, seeing as it's a small compact SUV, the key rivals for this car are the Suzuki Vitara and the Ford EcoSport.
How much is it?
Well, prices for this start at 3.1 million shillings, but you can talk to our friend Silvanas at Salvador or Caetano based on Mombasa Road here, and you can get a higher spec version of this car for 3.3 million shillings.
And remember, it also comes with a 5-year, 100,000 kilometers warranty, which means now manufacturers are having confidence with the country. Our quality of fuel and oil is up there, so you can maintain these cars quite easily, giving you peace of mind. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us on Cars with Big Boy Trev. As always, if you have any questions, comments or queries, don't hesitate to write to us as seen on the social media handles below, and we'll get back to you with the feedback next week. Signing out, this is Big Boy Trev.
This is Murigi. Drive safe
and be safe.